All right, picture this. You're out with your friends, right? And someone rolls up their sleeve to show off this amazing new tattoo. Everyone's leaning in, they're all excited, and you're just sitting there, kind of running a thumb over your own blank arm. It's not that you're jealous, it's not that you're scared, it's just nothing. And in that moment, you realize, wait, am I the weird one here?
I mean, it really feels like we're in this world where having ink is the default. And so choosing to stay unmarked has become the thing you have to explain. Suddenly, you're the one defending your blank canvas against all these labels, like you're boring, or scared, or just plain. And look, there's a reason it feels this way. When you find out that over 46% of millennials have at least one tattoo, and Gen Z is right there with them, it kind of clicks. The people with bare skin, we're officially the new minority.
But what's so interesting is that this isn't just some modern thing. I mean, if you look back through history, almost every culture had its rituals for marking the skin, symbols of who you are, where you belong. But there were always the observers, too. The ones who kind of stood back, thought about it, and just chose a different path. And they weren't outsiders. A lot of the time, they were the thinkers. And that's exactly what we're digging into today, because psychology actually has a few different names for the super complex thought processes behind this choice. And trust me, the science behind why you might have blank skin is fascinating.
Okay, so where does this all start? Well, a huge piece of the puzzle begins with how your brain thinks about time. The first big psychological reason you might not have tattoos is all about your relationship with your future self. Psychologists have a term for this, future self-continuity. And all it means is how well your brain can connect with the person you're going to be in 10, 20, or even 30 years. It's not just thinking about them as some stranger, but actually feeling connected to them.
To put it another way, while a lot of people are living completely in the now, your brain might already be in this quiet negotiation with the 70-year-old version of you. And let me tell you, that version, they've got some pretty strong opinions about what you put on their skin today.
And this is all tied up with another idea called temporal discounting. This is just that very human thing we all do, where we'd rather have a small reward right now than wait for a bigger one later. But for people who tend to skip the tattoos, their brains are often just wired a little differently. They naturally put more weight on the long game.
And someone just nailed it with this quote. What some people might call being indecisive, psychology would actually call a pretty rare cognitive strength. It's not a weakness at all. It's just a completely different way of calculating value. And that connects to something even deeper.
See, it's not just about time, it's really about identity. This gets to the very core of who you believe you are, and maybe more importantly, who you think you're going to be.
A lot of people who pass on the ink have what's called a fluid identity orientation. It means you just get on an intuitive level that the person you are today isn't the final version. So the real question becomes, why would you put a permanent stamp on a work in progress? This is the total opposite of something called identity foreclosure, which is locking yourself into a self-concept way too early. And what this really boils down to are two totally different approaches to what psychologists call impression management. Someone with a tattoo is making a calculation that says, this is a statement about me that I want the world to see. But the person without one, they're making a different calculation. My identity is internal. It doesn't need an external signal. It's not about caring less what people think. It's about a different kind of self-assurance. But here's where we've got to be honest and bring in a little nuance, because for every one of these deeply considered psychological reasons, there can definitely be a flip side. So I want you to really sit with this question for a second. If the idea of any permanent commitment, not just a tattoo, but a career, a city, fills you with this sense of dread instead of freedom, it's worth asking yourself this. Is your hesitation coming from a place of deep self-awareness, or could it be anxiety wearing a very convincing mask? Okay, but let's circle back, because in a world that is so loud, so saturated with visual statements, choosing to have none is itself a statement. It's just a much, much quieter one. And listen to this, because this quote is from someone who has 3 tattoos. When the people with ink are the ones saying this about the people without it, that tells you something really powerful. It points to this kind of recognized inner strength, a confidence that you don't have to wear on your sleeve, literally. And that really gets us to the heart of it all, an intrinsic identity orientation. This is the fundamental belief that your sense of self, your story, your values, all of it lives inside of you. It doesn't have to be put on display to be real. You don't need a billboard when you are the city. And you see this mindset play out in other ways too, not just with tattoos.
Like this person points out, it can be about avoiding big brand logos, or even just having a clear phone case. It's this whole approach to being you, a preference for substance over signal.
There's actually a name for this drive in social psychology. It's called the need for uniqueness theory. And while most people might express that need through what they show on the outside, for this group, that exact same need is just channeled internally through what you think, what you create, how you act. It's the same human need, just coming out through a different channel.
But I think this quote right here probably captures the feeling better than any psychology term ever could. It's this idea that a life, just by being lived, leaves its own marks, scars, lines, memories. The story is already there, written right into you. You don't need any ink to translate it.
So the next time someone calls you boring for not having tattoos, just remember, your brain is busy running these complex calculations about the future. And when they call you scared, you can know that you're just thinking in decades, not moments. And when they call you plain, well, now you know what the science says. You're anything but.